Yeah, we had one. Here. Councilman Tucci, Councilwoman Councilman Meinke. Here. Councilman Linden. Here. Councilman Boland. Here. Councilman Howell. Here. Mayor, I'm here. We have no report. Our recorder has resigned both positions as of 5:59 today, p.m., and leaving both offices vacant at this time, the recorder and the treasurer appointed position. And that brings me to ordinance 2025-14. After extensive discussion with lawyers from the Arkansas Municipal League, it was determined that this ordinance is necessary. An ordinance combining the recorder treasurer's position per ACA 1444-114, whereas the city of Bull Shoals has separated offices of city recorder and city treasurer, and whereas the city of Bull Shoals offices of city recorder and city treasurer were previously combined, and whereas the office of city recorder is currently vacant, and whereas the office of city treasurer is currently vacant, and whereas Arkansas law codified as Arkansas Code annotated 1444-114A2 allows the city council of a city of the second class to combine the offices of city recorder and city treasurer to take effect when both offices are vacant. And whereas the city council of the city of Bull Shoals wishes to combine the offices of city recorder and city treasurer while both offices are vacant. Now therefore be it ordained by the city council of Bull Shoals, Marion County, Arkansas, that Section 1, the offices of city recorder and city treasurer are hereby combined into a single office to be known hereafter as the city recorder treasurer. Section 2, the office of recorder treasurer is an elective office with a 4-year term of office. The qualified voters of Bull Shoals will elect a recorder treasurer to hold office for a 4-year term on the schedule for the election of recorder treasurers for cities of the second class as established by Arkansas Code annotated 1444-115. Section 3, the salary of the recorder treasurer will be established by the Bull Shoals City Council in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated 1442-113. Section 4, the Bull Shoals recorder treasurer shall be responsible for all statutory duties of recorder and treasurer as required by Arkansas law, and other duties that may be assigned by ordinance of the Bull Shoals Council. Section 5, severability. If any provision of this ordinance is held to be invalid, illegal, or unenforceable, it is in any respect under any applicable law or rule in any jurisdiction, such invalidity, illegality, or unenforceability shall not affect any other provision of this ordinance, or the validity or enforceability of such provision in any other jurisdiction. The remaining provisions shall remain in force in effect. Section 6. All previous adopted ordinances that conflict with the provisions of this ordinance, Ordinance 2025-14, are hereby repealed. Section 7. Emergency clause. Whereas the office of recorder and treasurer in the city of Bull Shoals are vacant, certain statutory obligations required of those offices are going unfulfilled. The city recognizes the immediate need to combine the separate offices into the office of Recorder Treasurer to ensure that the financial needs of the city are being met. The expenditures of funds derived from taxes after being correctly accounted for, and that the financial obligations of the city are being met. Therefore, the city council, upon a separate vote of 2/3 of the members elected to the city council of Bull Shoals, deems that the immediate effect of this ordinance is within the best interest of the city to act for the health and welfare of residents of Bull Shoals, and declares an emergency whereby this ordinance shall go into effect immediately upon passage. The council shall appoint a qualified elector of the city of Bull Shoals to hold the office of Recorder Treasurer for the remainder of the current unexpired term at the next regular meeting of the council. This ordinance may be passed when adopted. Do I hear a motion to accept?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Please.
Well, actually, I make the motion that we go into closed session for personnel reasons.
All right. You have to vote.
Does that have to be voted on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Go into executive session. We'll be back.
My heart.
That's really our vision for the fact that what we're doing here was brought to our attention by the Arkansas Municipal League. No one person can hold two offices and be paid for two offices, okay? The recorder and the treasurer was separated by previous administration. You can hire an individual for doing the recorder or elected. Okay? You can appoint a treasurer, but that has to be a different individual. The same person cannot, once you separate, the same person cannot hold both offices and be paid. That's illegal in the state of Arkansas. So that's why this ordinance was brought forward, so that we can bring both offices back together, so it's an elected position. You guys have any other that I may have missed?
Well, point of order, the person calling for the executive session needs to report out. So that would be you, Brandon.
What do I have to say?
That was the right thing.
I gotta say the right thing?
Yes.
Yes.
We came to a conclusion that we still need to move forward on this to combine the two positions, because we are outside the law. And we need to get back inside, that's what we took these offices for. I'm good.
I motion to accept the ordinance.
Second. Bear with me. It's already been filed, yes.
We can do it before.
I have a motion, and I have a second.
As far as discussion on that question, yeah, I suppose whenever the council appoints a treasurer, they need to be the ones that do that task. So yes, we would have to approve of a change,
So,
resignation.
so for functionality's sake, we can do that right now as a simple formal resolution. So if one of you would like to put forward a resolution that you accept the resignation of the current person operating as treasurer and or recorder.
I'll do what he says.
Okay, I withdraw my motion. I second his.
And he has to withdraw his second.
I withdraw my second. Thank you, Linda. So a motion's been made and seconded to accept the resignation of Paul Reynolds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, cool. So now you're.
Now you're-
There you go.
You're back.
I would like the motion that we accept the ordinance.
Do I hear a second? Second. Any discussion?
I would like to add that maybe the citizens, and this was, offered to me earlier in the day, how does it affect the electoral process? So that was something citizens were kind of curious about, because that election doesn't happen until,
So it won't affect anything, basically. So what will happen is because now the office is empty, you will, at the next normal meeting, appoint a new person to be in that position until the termination of the existing term, at which point it will continue to be an elected office. So functionally, nothing is changing for doing all of this. It's just you're now in compliance with the law as opposed to being out of compliance.
right, it's just that citizens were feeling like they weren't part of the elected process, which happens when someone leaves early in a term,
No.
and then they're there for a long time.
Provided that the council does not choose to hold a special election, which is within the council's authority to do so. If you all decide that you want to do a special election instead of allowing for an appointment, you are welcome to do that. That is the decision of the council for Article 15.
The whole point is for us to get back into the lines of state compliance here. We're not taking anyone out of office, we're just doing what we have to do to make sure we're riding within the law. It's just an unfortunate bureaucratic circumstance that we have to deal with. So we got a big agenda, let's get trucking here.
Any more discussion? Yeah, we just got to vote on it. We got a motion, we got a second, no more discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Okay.
Now, emergency clause and the other readings. Yeah.
I already read the emergency clause
And they
in
accept
the first reading, so, I'm looking for a motion to suspend the rules to read the second and third reading by title only.
I'll make that, okay, I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Second reading, by title only on ordinance 2025-14, an ordinance combining the recorder treasurer's position per ACA 1444-114. Do I have a motion to accept?
Make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Third reading of ordinance number 2025-14 by title only, an ordinance combining the, what's that?
We need a motion.
No, I have to read it the third time by title only, then I'll have the motion.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Third reading, this is our third. I know, it confuses me too, so don't worry. Our third reading ordinance 2025-14, an ordinance combining the recorded treasurer's position per ACA 1444-114. We have a motion to accept.
I make the motion.
Do I hear a second? Second.
I would like to offer, I didn't know if the citizens would appreciate a third reading, actually, if they would care to have it read, seeing as it's kind of a sudden.
No.
Okay.
We're good.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion and ordinance passed. Thank you so much, folks.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Just in time, folks.
We have to go out, so we have to. Everyone go to the lab, the parking lot, we'll see that. We're starting to run late for our next meeting.
Call to order, July 31st, 2025, 6:30 meeting, for the regular council meeting. Pledge allegiance, please. I pledge Okay, roll call. Councilman Hudson? Here. Councilwoman Pucci? Here. Councilman Knight? Still here. Councilman Lindeman? Here. Councilman Bowen?
Here.
Councilman Howell?
Here.
And the mayor's here. We have a forum, proceed on. First thing, order of business is a resolution 2025-R12, a resolution confirming the appointment of a recorded treasurer to fill out the elected term that ends on December 31st, 2028. Whereas the city council has passed an ordinance 2025-14, combining the elected offices of city recorder and city treasurer into one office. The city recorder treasurer, beginning on January 1, 2029, and the city requires an individual to fulfill the statutory duties of a municipal treasurer and additional duties as assigned by the city council. And whereas the office described above are currently vacant, and whereas Arkansas Code 1444-106 requires that at the first regular meeting after the occurrence of the vacancies in the office of recorder treasurer or recorder treasurer, the city council shall proceed to elect a person to fill the vacancy either by a majority vote of the council members or by a call for a special election to be held in accordance with 7-11-101. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Bull Shoals, Marion County, Arkansas, that the City Council of the City of Bull Shoals, Arkansas chooses to elect as the recorder treasurer to fill out the term of this office which ends on December 31st, 2028 by a majority vote of the council members. Do I have a motion to accept, or first I would like to have a name of a motion for filling that position.
I'd like to motion to Paul Reynolds.
Second. To fill this resolution.
Yes, sir.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I don't know if we covered it, is the pay as was, predetermined in the last role of the person, in the last position?
Then it's gonna be determined by whatever we have set up for the budget this year. That should conform to what she's giving now. Got a motion and got a second. Who made the motion?
Powell.
Seconded by Kelly. All those in favor? Any opposed? Resolution passes. And I'll have to be right back home. Thank you. Now we have one more thing to do, and that is, may we have our justices of the peace please come forward. Paul?
Every officer administering this oath of office is required by law to endorse the duplicate thereof, which must be returned to the Secretary of State Office, State Capitol, 500 Wood Lane Street, Room 026, Little Rock, Arkansas, within 15 days after the petition is dated. Do you, Paul Reynolds, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Arkansas, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of this office as Recorder Treasurer, upon which I am now about to enter? You're entering the term 1/1/2025 and ends 12/31/2028. Yes, I do. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, our next. What you do? Okay, have you folks, looked over reports? Do you have any questions on any of the reports that have been submitted? If not, I'd, look for a motion to accept, all reports as submitted. I'll make a motion.
I have one question about the zoning one. Remember in the workshop, one of the parts was missing, the recommendations. There was 3 recommendations that they had that we didn't have in our packet.
Did you, it's in your tablet?
It's in the current packet, okay.
Yes.
That was my only question, if that was there. And if any discussion would ensue because of those 3 pieces that we didn't see before.
Are we including treasurer's report in this?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want me to separate them, that's fine. If you want to hold off on the treasurers, I know planning and zoning wants to talk to us. Okay, and I know the police, chief wants to talk to us. But, you know, as far as what was written so far.
Okay, so all we're voting on for reports?
On the reports.
Very well.
Do we have a second? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Planning and zoning, Rick, do you have anything for us?
Yes, actually.
I know you got quite a bit.
Yes. Good evening, council members. About a month ago, we sent out a letter that was approved by you guys to send out to resort owners The mayor and I signed it, and the letter had a end date of yesterday, and we need to decide what we're gonna do with this. And then also, since you have council here, there's been a lot of question whether or not our planning and zoning laws are enforceable. And I would like to see if we can get an answer on that tonight.
So, which ones in particular?
Basically, all of them, they've been all in question, from some of the council members in the past, so, in particular, C4, the C4 zone.
As in the commercial zoning that exists functionally currently
Yes,
today?
are they enforceable, are they something that, are merely suggestions, or are they actually laws?
Well, if it's an ordinance, then it's an ordinance, it's an enforceable ordinance. So unless there's some particular law that I'm currently unaware of, I'd be happy to look into that, but my understanding currently is that everything that is functionally on the books is functionally on the books.
Perfect. That helped a lot. And then I want to know, how would you like to proceed? We had in that letter that we were going to start enforcing the resorts into whether or not they're complying, paying taxes as they're supposed to. And I guess we need some direction from you guys, what you would like to do.
I can speak to that. Have you had any response, or has there been any response from the letters? Has anyone come forward with a response to the letters we approved that you sent out?
We had one from one of the resorts that's operating as our ordinance says, and then a new owner of one of the resorts thought he could read into it and made a mockery of it, and I would like to know what we should do with this. He pulled out a business license for a resort, but yet at this point in time, 2 months later, I don't see it operating as a resort. So I guess we need some direction from you. It's up to you, it's your call. We're just the caretakers of the house.
I think what we can do is have as many of these people that you want to come to the next planning and zoning meeting, which is the second Wednesday. And could you reach out to all these individuals and tell them that we need them to come to the meeting and explain their situation or some kind of proposal or something like that? And I've also done some, I think this is in our packets. This is 1456-204, I've got it printed, but you'll agree with me, the square footage is kind of we're talking about our zoning laws now.
Yep.
The square footage is kind of a iffy thing. This says that, and I'll just read it, it says this, and this is up to date as of today, I'm assuming. It says this section is necessary to ensure property rights protection is accessible and to ensure state law is consistent with federal law. A municipality shall not regulate residential building design elements, and there's a bunch of them that are listed here. The one on 8 says, the minimum square footage of a structure. Well, that, I think some of our zoning laws state like a minimum of 925 square feet or something in there about a building. So I don't know if that law applies or not applies. I'm assuming based on this information that is wrong, right? Can we enforce that rule of 925 or not? I don't know the answer.
State law supersedes ours.
Right.
We determined this back in January.
If I'm reading this correctly, it's a little confusing when you read it, but I believe it's
That's only part of it, it's left up to the city.
We'll just clarify so that your discussion can be more easily. So this is talking about the minimum square footage of a structure, which if you're talking about a resort being a structure with many rooms in it, and we're determining the minimum amount of space in a room, so that's a different category of question. This is saying, you can't say, oh, you can't have a building that's like a 5 by 5 full square. The Arkansas law says you can do that, whereas here, our zoning codes, to my understanding, are that it is regulating the amount of space that can be allotted within a structure to a particular room or person or whatever.
So would you say that we can or cannot control the square footage of someone who wants to build a house in our city?
So you can't control the square footage of the house.
Okay.
But if someone does build a house and then wants to rent out rooms in that house and say that that is an individual apartment of that structure, and say, oh, we're going to require this, then I think there's a strong argument that you can say, yes, it needs to at least be this minimum amount of space, because you're not regulating the size of the structure, you're regulating the allowed space within it and how that is used.
And I have done you've done some research too, I'm sure, but, and some people have told me that it's based on, like, one person, it's like, you need a water heater, you need a furnace, you need a sink, you need a bathroom, you need a bedroom, and if you can do all that in 300 square foot, you know, you're golden, but I don't know, I can't really nail it down. I've actually emailed both representatives, I'm just a little unclear on what the rule is what I'm saying.
Well, and I don't believe there's really anything in our planning and zoning codes that say you have to have a water heater or anything like that. I believe that's something that the state should be governing and not us. Our codes are a little bit simpler than that. The state has a lot of rules, and I don't know if you know whether or not the state has got rid of all the minimums, because that's what's bringing all this up, correct?
Right, I'm not sure either, I'm a little unclear.
It was on, supposed to go to session last year, and I don't know if it's come up yet, you know, have you heard?
I'll look into it.
Okay. So that's something we have to put off into the.
And back to planning and zoning, because you and I had many discussions about this.
Yes.
With the planning and zoning, we can have a zone change, we can do a special use permit, which is also a conditional use permit. I think those two kind of are the same thing, as I understand it. You could apply a variance to some person or property or whatever. So, would you agree that those are the three things that we have to decide if we want to do any of those three things with any zoning issue that we have, if I'm stating it correctly?
Yes, but one thing we gotta keep in mind is we can't hand out these special use, conditional use, or variances like our lollipops. These are exceptions to the rule. A variance is a permanent change.
I think a variance is more to do with like property lines and fencing, and maybe if you've got some kind of a hardship is what I saw in various things.
Yes, but the variance is a permanent change to our zoning codes. The conditional use is we're allowing somebody to do something for a certain amount of time, and it's not transferable. When they sell it, it goes away. So there are differences to it, so we have to be real careful how we use them. And that's something that I'm a little bit concerned about with the resorts. We were gonna allow them to do longer term rental. I guess we didn't come up with a term for it.
Monthly, maybe, I don't know.
Monthly, whatever you wanna do. We have to be careful of that because we're giving out conditional use permits, and well, if we give out too many of them, we're basically saying our rules are no good. And we're also opening up a large can of worms because we're allowing one group, one business section in the city to have special treatment. Are we gonna do that for restaurants? Are we gonna do that for the marinas? Are we gonna do this for gas stations? We have to be very careful what we're doing. The city is not in the position to help the businesses. Businesses need to learn how to survive and run their businesses on their own. That's my opinion. We can do what we can with our codes, but I think we have to be very careful what we open up because we're gonna have everybody coming to us and asking for help, so we have to be very careful.
Rick and, Will, my question is, the way the ordinance reads is, once our resorts have no longer been a resort, they are then converted to residential one. Am I correct?
With one extra thing in there, if they cease as a resort, they need to come before planning and zoning and request a zone change back to what the area that they're in is suitable for. There's not a open field of what they can choose from. And we have to also keep in mind that plan that we have on the wall over there is our guiding light. A good example is these resorts. All the resorts are in neighborhoods. We have to be very careful that we don't put a bunch of apartment complexes in the middle of all our neighborhoods. That's not how we design the city. They shouldn't be that far from the town center. The town center is where apartments belong. People bought into neighborhoods because they wanted to be in, have larger areas, less people. And a good example, quite honestly, with Del Arco is if we allow that to go to apartments, the city's gonna have to understand you are increasing traffic in that area. We'll need to talk to the school district, whether or not they're gonna want, to bring in people for the kids, the school buses, or our roads can be safer. Summit Avenue and 178, that's a horrible intersection. Now you're talking about adding another 100 vehicles on that road on a daily basis. Is that what you want for our neighborhoods? And I think we heard from the people, it's the citizens' decision how we move forward with this. And it's important that we have a public hearing to let the citizens guide our decision.
And just to state another fact, the planning and zoning that we have now, for the most part, like, there could be a few that have been redone, was written in 2001.
Correct.
And so, unfortunately, this probably should have been updated maybe every 10 years or something. I don't know how that does. I'm not a planning and zoning expert. We are dealing with an old rule. We are.
They're old rules, but the thing is, and I've only been here a year, so I'm looking back at the records and I'm making judgment calls on what I've seen. And the city has updated the records, I believe in 2010. They amended the sign ordinance. They did it again in 2013. They just did it recently in 2021. And there's another one in there, I don't remember them all, so I didn't write them all down. But the city chose a more economical method of changing our planning and zoning. Up until recently, we didn't have a digital copy of our zoning laws. So if we were to add one sentence in the beginning of it, that meant somebody would have to type out 48 pages. And this was just a terrible expense. The city chose the economical rate, and the council made ordinances that changed things for us. The sign ordinance is a good example. It's been changed 4 times. So it has been updated. Just because it was originally done in 2001 means nothing.
I think what your original question was, if we can get back to that, is what do you feel that we want you to do?
Okay.
And just speaking for myself, I think that if people want to apply for variances or, any one of those categories you listed, I feel that they need to come before the public and attend a hearing where the public can hear their plan, hold them accountable to that plan, and give their opinions about that plan. And I feel like that we're talking about all this other stuff, and what really truly matters is they need to come before planning and zoning as a venue and do that. I read an article in the Bugle about, the new Bel Arco owners, and they, would love to come to a meeting, but they have to find the proper venue. Well, that's absurd. The proper venue is the planning and zoning committee meeting. That's what it's for. If people want to get variances or they want to get changes, I believe they should come and ask for them in public and state exactly what they want to do with the variance, what they want to turn the property into, and, just be accountable.
We have to stop this, so that's what's been going on in this town, from what I understand, for the last decade, is people just did what they wanted, and nobody held them accountable, and we have to stop that. And somewhere, the council will have to decide, when are we gonna draw that line? It has to be a hard line. It's a tough decision to make, but sooner or later, we have to do what the people have asked you to do, and that's to enforce our rules. They're the ones that created these rules, and we need to stand by them.
From my understanding, there's only 2, maybe 3 resorts that are actually running as a resort. The rest of them are doing long-term, and that's what you're asking us, what are we gonna do about those?
Correct.
That's my understanding.
Well, and I think, and I'm not sure who's in charge of making sure these people come, how that works, but we have a planning and zoning meeting coming the second. How I'm looking confused at that, because you changed the meetings. It's
Yes, it's the second Wednesday of each month.
period. Okay, I had the workshop, so then they should come to that meeting, period. I agree completely with that.
Well, we can invite them when we want, we've already done that once or twice already, and nobody allowed to show up. People aren't gonna come in and tell them, so that's really what we're kind of running into, and I don't know how to say anything better. Am I correct?
But we did have a meeting coming up, and then I think that's where we draw the line. If we get people to come to the meeting, and the people that need to come to the meeting, if they come to the meeting, then we've accomplished something. If they don't show up to the meeting, then I think we move forward from there. That's my opinion.
Well,
I question to the attorney, if we have stipulation that they are in violation of the planning and zoning code as a resort, do we have the right to go after them?
Yes, if they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law, that's it.
Okay. So it would behoove them to come to the next planning and zoning meeting.
I was going to probably be a wise decision, given that the council appears to be willing at least to engage in a dialogue. So, yeah.
and by all means, I can reach out, you guys can reach out, how would you like to handle that? We have a variance hearing already going on at the next meeting. We can even set up a special meeting if you like, I'm sure, my commissioners would be very happy to have a special meeting for it.
I think what you need to do is just send out another letter from the planning and zoning to all the resort owners stipulating the fact that the city council wants you to abide by the zoning ordinance and it would behoove you to attend the next planning and zoning meeting.
And our attorney just stated that this was an enforceable zoning regulation.
Correct.
You might say that also.
Rick, I would like to, say I appreciate so much all the work that you've done and how candid you've been about it. But the fact, too, you have to kind of admit that there's been unfriendly moments that maybe scared off people from communicating more freely, and they, it's been a little controversial in that way, and so you have to admit that they have their issues that might not be the same as your issues, and they may have expressed that it feels like an interference of their right to do commerce, and then maybe they would even express that more strongly. So we can't deny that that is the other side of the coin, so to speak, that their interpretation, or if we gave them an interpretation of what we thought was the zoning law, and we were going to call them on it for some reason, they could appeal anything that we did. I mean, there's a process that can support them. But we should admit that it hasn't been an easy road for them too. We don't really, they haven't told us, but you know, you can get wind of it in different ways that it is, and it hasn't really been a friendly transition.
Did you by chance attend the resort meeting that we had a couple months ago?
I'm sorry.
When all the resorts sat down for the round table? I thought it was an exquisite meeting, and a lot of people showed up, and it was really positive.
I mean, in other meetings that weren't where the subject came up.
Well, in the past, I'm
That's
sure,
what
but
I mean.
I have yet to see this administration, ourselves included, go after a resort. I mean, at this point, we have to be real about the fact that we have to get somewhere with this, and people have to come to the table. Because the next step is figuring out how we enforce it. But this malarkey that resorts have been attacked, it's a little off base. I mean, we have done a lot here to try and ask people to come to the table, as far as telling 1050 if they showed up, hey, you can probably get this variance, and they still don't show up. So,
all due respect, that letter I wrote, there was nothing threatening in that. The only thing I did was merely quoted out of the planning and zoning laws what the ramifications were if you're not going to be a resort. It's pretty simple. If there was nothing threatening in there, yes, I said you have to cease. That's exactly what our ordinance says. If you're not going to be a resort, you need to cease operations, come to planning and zoning, and change your zoning. So I think we need to move to that.
I think the resorts have a hard enough time as it is with the taxes and everything that's going on. I can't see them letting anybody in there that's gonna be with just on tourism. We don't have the volume we used to have.
We don't, and that's changing, but that is not, that shouldn't be a problem the city should take on. This is a problem that they should have been on. Quite honestly, I'm surprised that these resorts have not gathered together and started a tourist association. They could be doing a lot more advertising. Didn't we find that, through the state people? They said there's lots of avenues for them to get money and do advertising. They have elected not to do it. They took the easy way out. And that's just my personal opinion of it, but it is. I ran a resort, I don't know how to do so. I got old, I couldn't keep up with cleaning cabinets. It's a lot of work. We had to sell. If you can't do this job, you have to sell. You know, that's just part of life, that's part of owning a business. Nobody said that you're gonna be handed free money every time you don't think you're making any money. We can't do that. So, just my opinion.
I'd like to hear your experience.
Yeah. Well, here my opinion, I want to share it with you. And it's because I know for a fact that we have resorts in this town that have had long-term residents for 25 years and 17 years, and the people are still living in 300 square foot cabins. And she's 84, and I don't want to throw her out on the street, but at the same time, the owners are outside compliance. They need to come to the table, and if they don't want to come to the table, then okay, I don't want to throw people out on the street, but they have to follow the law. You expect me to drive 35 miles an hour to 35. I do that. I follow the law. The law says you cannot rent out long-term, but we've been allowing it for 25 years. It's gotta stop. You know, I'm sorry, but that's just my point on it. It has to come to an end. And if this is a group that has to do it, then this is a group that has to do it. It has to get happen. That's just where I stand with it.
And I want to go back to the meeting that Mike referenced about the resorts, when we had the stakeholder meeting and all those resorts showed up. Frankly, I was stunned at how many of the resorts did not want long-term housing. They were struggling to make it. They said right up front, this is a hard gig, but they said, we don't want this. And that shocked me. So the very people that are willing to come to the table, that are stakeholders, that are resort owners, that are running resorts as resorts, are telling us at a meeting that they want to head this off at the pass. I think we should listen to that.
Yes. And from what I've heard, their sales are up 36%, is that what I heard?
There's a huge difference in the resorts that are marketing themselves as a resort and people who are just collecting money on people's stay. There's a huge difference.
And also,
if you self-invest, you're going to see something happen.
And also, there are people in this town that are working very hard to bring new businesses here and to revive businesses that have been here and to get tourism coming back here. And then we're not going to have anywhere for them to stay, because it's all going to be full up with people in affordable housing that are renting 300 square foot boxes for $700, you know, and frankly, the term affordable housing applied to 1050, I think is moderately humorous for what you get. But the point is, if we plan on bringing the city back and bringing tourists back, because we know that's money, we gotta have somewhere for those people to stay. And if every single one of these resorts is allowed to turn into long-term housing, that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. That math doesn't add up.
And something I haven't shared with all of you, I would share it with the mayor. I've been in touch with somebody that called me and was seriously considering buying one of the resorts that's for sale. That resort reportedly is doing long-term. I would guess that information got passed on just like it has with one that just sold recently. we are setting ourselves up, we need to do something soon, or all of a sudden, one's gonna set a precedent for the rest of them, and then we lost all our reserves. This is a pretty serious, situation, if you wanna be a tourist town. If you don't, then let's get rid of them. You have to make that decision, and it has to be done fairly soon.
I
It
have a
can't be
question
put off.
for Greg. Greg, you maybe know this or not know it. Do they all have business licenses?
That I don't know, the city takes care of that. To the best of my knowledge, they do. But I think the business license also states they're running a resort. They picked up a business license stating a resort. If they're not running as a resort, are the licenses valid?
Well, that seems to be the step number one.
That's out of my hands, out of my planning and zoning. The city handles all the licenses. I had title, but I don't touch any money, sorry. The licenses are in our control.
Because I think our license is public information.
Yeah.
So the city should know who has licenses and who doesn't. I honestly haven't checked.
I mean, because that's sort of, step number one information that you need to know before you even know how many there are.
Well, we know because we have the zones on the map, we know which zones are zone, resort, commercial C4. That is the zones that are all resorts. So I do know how many there are.
I know one, okay, Evergreen Resort, they do not have a license, they've been closed for almost 20 years,
So they're.
And currently up for sale.
you know.
Yeah, and that's one up for sale too, I believe.
Yeah, that's up for sale.
So that's one that we don't have to really worry about at this time, but somebody's gonna buy it, and then what are we gonna tell them? That they can't rent apartments, sell like everybody else, we have to do something really quick.
I think that's what we need to do is, make another letter, send it up to the resort owner. You know, get with Susan and see, which ones are actively have business license, send them out to. And I'll even contact the, realtor or the lawyer that actually owns Evergreen, and we'll get him contacted also, what he wants to do.
Okay. If that's what the council would like me to do, I'd be happy to do it.
I think researching which ones actually function, and if they're defunct, they shouldn't even have a sign. I mean, according to our sign ordinance, they shouldn't even have a sign up anymore. I mean, it's misleading when you drive around and you see signs and it's all dead. It doesn't look good. And that's why you shouldn't have signs up for businesses that aren't in existence.
Well, we have to protect the people that we're inviting to come here. One bad reputation goes like wildfire. One person having a bad time here is going to run for 100 people, and we're going to lose business if we don't keep it uniform. So you're absolutely right. We need to do something on it. So,
Thank you, Rick.
okay, thanks.
Thank you, Rick.
Did we want to talk about 1050, or is that going to be something else that you guys will discuss amongst yourselves? We had a letter that I turned in a letter for Bill that we were going to ask them to come forward with a zone change. Currently, they're in a C2 zoning. The way they got permission to do multifamily dwellings or apartments, as it's referred to, is very questionable. We would like to have them come forward and change their zoning to R3, which is the multifamily dwellings or apartments. Where they're located is where they should be, where we should have apartments. So I think it would be something that would be nice if we could get them to come forward. The nice thing is they've been in operation over there for 3 years now, from what I understand. There obviously hasn't been too many problems over there, so I don't see anybody objecting to it. It would be a very simple rezoning process for them, but it would clean it up and it would take it off the city's schedule for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. We just need to make things right. The way it was done short-circuited our zoning process, and I don't think it should have been that, but the council never approved it, the last time. One of the bigger decisions is, would you guys waive all the fees that would be required for them, just as a kind gesture to them? I guess that's up to you guys. I think that would be something that you should do.
Have you all read the letter?
Have we sent that to them already?
No.
This is still,
For anyone who hasn't read it, it's a well put together letter. It's not threatening in any sense or fashion. In fact, it invites them to the table to discuss these things, and it very clearly says, hey, we're probably gonna do this for you. We just want to talk to you. We want to establish a connection, knock off all the nonsense from the past and do this right.
Yeah.
So I commend you on the letter. It was well written.
we're admitting that we did some, maybe inappropriately, and we're trying to make it right. That's all we're trying to do, we're not trying to do anything.
And I like the way you addressed it in there, because anyone that's ever owned a business, if you get a green light like that from someone on official city letterhead, you're golden.
Yep.
I don't know how else to say it. I mean, you're gonna operate business when someone tells you that you're allowed to. So, and I think bringing them to the table is gonna be a great way to avoid another city lawsuit, which we absolutely do not need. And like you said, we haven't caused any problems in the last 3 years, no more than any other unruly neighbor that we all each have at least one on the block. So I think it's a good letter, and it'd be my recommendation to send it out. There's nothing about it that's cease and desist or anything like that. So let's have a conversation, let's get this set right. So,
I just have a question. Have you had any feedback from that side at all? I mean, are you flying blind? I'm not saying this inappropriate. Are you flying blind on this? You're just hoping that they're going to do this? Do you have some indication that they're wanting to do this, or?
None whatsoever, I'm trying to
I'm
make,
just curious.
if we allow this to continue the way it is, the way it was done, they were able to switch zones, arbitrarily, and they used a part of our code, somebody put into it a little more liberally than it's written, and we need to stop that.
Okay.
This is the biggest problem, is that it was done incorrectly the first time, in my opinion, and I would like to see us fix it, make it right for them, and then any other problems that they have fall on the state, not the city.
I think it's a great way to solve that problem, if they're willing to do it. My question would be, do they fall into different categories in certain department as far as inspections, or fire department inspections?
Yes.
Or
State.
building inspections? Like, if they make this change, will they have to go through some kind of inspection process?
They should have done that already by the way they're operating. Under the only thing we're doing is changing the legality of their zoning. How they operate, again, is beyond our planning and zoning codes. We have no control over whether or not they're clean, they have smoke alarms, they have hot water. That's not our problem anymore.
No, I'm just asking a general question. Does going from what they are, which is an apartment, to an apartment, does that change the inspection process? Do you know the answer, Mr. Mayor? I don't know.
It wouldn't be any inspections, that would be any of our concern. I guess that's the biggest problem. It's not in our hands anymore.
Well, but it's part of the city's process to make sure that they're operating, the people there are safe, and that there's no dangerous events happening over there as far as the building itself or whatever. That's my point. I don't know the answer either.
I don't either, but I believe we have other apartment buildings in town, and we don't go ask them whether or not they're following the rules, so we have to draw lines somewhere.
Okay.
So that would just be.
My question to the council would be the fact that, he's come up with this letter, he wants me as mayor to sign this, but I want the approval of the council to go ahead and send this out.
I have a question. Was the letter run by our legal, was it the verbiage in the letter?
Yes.
Because of this part where it says, and verging on illegal.
Yeah, it is, and we had talked about this previously in the previous administrations, that they're not happy with how that was done and how they were going through that. And so, we can resolve this in a fashion that y'all are describing, and make life way easier for me. So, yes.
I make a motion to send the letter.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
Opposed?
And then I asked, one more recommendation for it, instead of just sending it through the mail to them, our building official has a very good rapport with, I know he's the owner of the place. Maybe he can hand deliver it, and there'd be a little more personal contact there to explain the situation, where they're not just getting a blank letter saying, here, change this, and they have to go through a bunch of paperwork, so. If he's, yes, if he's willing to do it, I'd like to ask him to do it.
He's over there shaking his head.
All right, which way?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for good work.
Chief, do you have anything for us? And this will be a recording. Lynn, for Parks, do you have anything additional for us?
I just want everyone to know that this Saturday at 7:00 here at City Hall, we're going to walk 178 and pick up trash. So, long pants, bug spray, and we'll have everything else.
Lynn, what time again, I'm sorry?
7,
7, thank you.
and we'll meet here at City Hall. Trash day. This Saturday.
Fire chief here? Ron,
Yep.
do you have anything other than what you submitted?
No.
We did 833 today. so
Yes.
We're gonna get 833 money.
The only thing I was gonna just mention is we do have, our pilot report, we'll have that for the next meeting, we finished that 2 days ago, so we'll get that for you guys next.
Thank you. Council members, do you have, I got down here, Councilmember Linden, have you got any?
I haven't had a chance to do anything with it, I was looking for some positions for the treasurer report.
You wanna go over that again?
No, I just didn't know that we have to motion to accept it, or we just put that all together.
Yeah, I put it all together, but I think I'll go back to that if you want. Actually, we got to do the minutes too.
Okay. Go over those.
Did everybody look over the, last council meeting, there was.
Motion to
one
accept the minutes.
Second, on, July 2nd, and there was one in June. Have a motion to accept both.
He made the motion, I'll say.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? As far as, treasury's report, a little bit sketchy, but, what we have been delivered to us, and a motion to accept the treasury's report.
Motion to accept.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
No.
I heard two.
And one more.
Okay, Councilman, 19, Bill Arco, we already discussed this pretty much. Okay. Councilman Boland, I know you had an incident prior to coming here tonight on 211 Alford.
We boarded up all the windows, we boarded up all the doors, and I'm still chasing people off the property. I had to do that on my way here tonight. People were there going, well, I got called here to pick up a guy to take him to the grocery store. We removed the tree, but then again, I'm gonna have to ask some serious questions when we start discussing that city beautification ordinance, because, you know, we have been told that this could take 4 years to deal with this property, and I'm having an issue with 4 years, when it's already been over a year.
Councilmember Cucci, you have any update on, you passed the water class?
Excruciating.
Oh.
It's not the test itself, for the information. It's the tech part of the people that run the education program. They have so many issues, you know. But thank you to Susan and Dominic and for sticking with it just to get through the firewalls of getting on there to actually do the modules, you know. That shouldn't be so difficult. But anyway, we did it because we stuck with it like bulldogs, and so it's done.
Okay, I have, Councilman, Hutchins.
No, I'm educated now, man.
Oh, okay, great.
I'm on it. So I learned about 15 seconds before I had to actually come to the meeting that I was gonna talk about the new water and sewer bill payment system. And if I get in trouble, Erica's gonna bail me out. But basically, we have a new system that you can go paperless, you can pay your bill electronically. You can go online and register it. I'm assuming that this instruction sheet will be available at the front window. Okay, but basically, it's like every other online bill pay. You can opt in to paying your bill online, or you can just go on a one-time thing and pay your bill online. If it's going to be easier without registering, you can, I guess, go on as a guest and pay your bill. You can go paperless, or you can choose to pay it electronically with a paper bill, or you can go on, register, and print off your own bill. But the advantage here is that you have 24/7 access to your water bill as it is currently standing.
Payment history and account.
Payment history and account, and there's no fee for this, correct? No fee.
The only fee is with the credit card, and it's the same as paying over the phone right now.
Okay, so basically the instructions are pretty simple. I read over them. You know, we've had a lot of people, you know, one of the things that when we modified the hours of the office, it was to accommodate people that wanted to come in and pay the bills, and do it in person. That's still gonna be available. That's not going away. So this is just an addendum to it. It just makes it a little bit easier for those of us that like to pay bills online.
And it does not interfere with anybody's draft.
Right, so, anyway, that's, the new bill pay thing, and again, a very easy to understand sheet, because I understood it, and, I'm not a big online bill payer, but, they'll have that up front, so that's an addition. While I'm on, it's my turn, can I talk about the ALS thing? Okay, for those of you that weren't at the workshop, we have been working down at the ALS building, photographing all the items that will go on sale in the lower building and in the upper building. The upper building is where all the machinery is, the lathes and stuff like that. Lower building has some saws and drill presses and stuff, but all the heavy commercial machinery is up in that building. As a consequence of word getting out that we had a bunch of machinery for sale, we actually had a gunsmith in Branson that's just getting ready to open approach us. They sent a representative to come look at the equipment in the building. They have made an offer. From everything that I have, everyone that I have talked to that has been in that building and valued those machines, throwing out the low bids and the high bids and going into the middle, this offer is extremely fair. I don't know if you want me to talk specifics or just talking generalities, but my concern is that if we don't act relatively quickly to either accept or deny this offer, we're going to start from scratch again and trying to get rid of this stuff. And
My thing would be, we're gonna have to surplus.
you're right.
And bring it before the council, and you guys decide if you wanna do it through .gov or accept the offer.
Okay.
I believe.
So we can tell them what the offer is, right? I mean, monetarily.
What's the?
The offer is $4,000 for, here's the whole offer. The offer is $4,000 for the 4 pieces of machinery that are up there. Not only will they pay us $4,000, they will take everything out of that building. All the trash, all the junk, and trust me, people, if you haven't been up there, there is a lot of junk. Phil has been great about coming over and taking trash can after trash can after trash can of junk away. Why you need a fan with no blades, I don't know, because that's really not a fan. But, and I make light of it, but literally I have worked over 20 to 30 hours. I've had other people up there that have put in 20 to 30 hours. We haven't even put a dent in cleaning it.
Our outstanding tax balance on that building is $4,500, right?
Right.
I motion we accept the offer.
I
don't know if we can actually do that.
So didn't we talk about it?
Well, but I think we have to, if I'm wrong, I think we have to put it on surplus and a resolution.
Yeah, you'll want to surplus it, but you can certainly do that now, like.
Just by, without writing this a motion, a resolution, motion, or?
Yeah, you can resolve it, I mean, it's the same way you resolve any other surplus, just make sure you specifically identify the goods that you're planning on surplusing, but.
Yeah, we don't have all that
properly.
Right.
Well, I'm just bringing it to you. I think this is a fair offer. What I'm afraid of is if we have to wait another month to do this, that offer's gonna go away. And I'm not trying to, put a gun to anybody's head. I'm just trying to find a way out of the problem that we have, which is, number one, we have a $4,500 tax bill we gotta pay. And number two, we have a whole lot of equipment that is 30-something years old. This guy is willing to buy it without even knowing if it properly works.
I have a question, wasn't the tax bill covered by Mr. Alvarez
Or just the
One
2023,
in the end?
not the 2024 that's coming up in October.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, the 2024 you paid, we have to pay for the 2025,
Why would we?
which is actually a year behind.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Because we don't pay taxes from.
And understand that to remove this equipment out of this building, literally a wall has to be removed. It was built to be removed, but it still has to be removed. And if you've seen the incline that building is on, it is gonna be no easy task to get this out of there. The people that have put the bid in are guessing that it's gonna be between $3,000 and $4,000 just to move the stuff. And again, that's gonna be money or a liability or, that we're gonna have to absorb if we end up trying to do that. So I'm not trying to be chicken little here, but when you got an offer on the table and it looks good and you can get it, and I verified the offer, I will say that the mayor asked me to make a counter offer. I did, and they are standing pat on 4,000. So I made the effort to try to get more money. They have been nothing but fair with me as far as talking about things. So I don't know what we want to do. I'm just speaking.
Will, what's the best way that we're able to move on?
So if you want to start today, if you could verbally state either some kind of list of equipment or other description of the goods, say everything in this particular room or what the machines are, just give
Yeah, it's everything in that building, and I mean, we know that it's.
Well, there's 2 lathe machines, there's a drill press, and that's what he's asking.
Right, okay, so there's 2 lathes, a drill press, and a milling machine.
Okay, so the 2 blades, drill plus, and milling
Plus the
machine,
tools that go with it.
plus the associated tools and other goods that are associated with those, you are making a motion to declare those as surplus, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, whoever wants to say.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Okay, I have a second.
That's
for the offer of $4,000.
$4,000, everything in that building cleaned out. When they leave, that building will be clean, swept, done. And the wall will be replaced.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, citizens' comments on agenda items only, please. Do we have any? All right, we'll move on. Ordinance 2025-09, short-term rentals. An ordinance providing for short-term rentals and providing guidelines and procedures for short-term rentals within platted subdivisions with an R zoning in Bull Shoals, Arkansas. Whereas short-term rentals are gaining popularity and provide economic opportunities in the city of Bull Shoals, Arkansas. And whereas short-term rentals should be allowed in all zoning districts of the city of Bull Shoals, Arkansas. And whereas short-term rentals within platted subdivisions with our zoning require guidelines to protect and benefit the inhabitants within the R zone classifications. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Bull Shoals, Arkansas, Section 1, definition, short-term rental, STR, means a dwelling unit or portion thereof that is offered or provided to a guest by a short-term rental owner or operator for a fee for fewer than 31 consecutive nights as a form of tourist or transient accommodation. Short-term rental units may be whole house rentals, apartments, condominiums, or individual rooms in homes. For the purpose of administration and enforcement of this ordinance, the terms overnight rental, nightly rental, and vacation rental are interchangeable with short-term rentals. Section 2, all short-term rentals within the city of Bull Shoals, Arkansas must meet the following requirements. A, short-term rentals must show compliance with state, county, and municipal tax requirements, and must obtain and maintain annually a business license through the city of Bull Shoals prior to operation. A business license issued shall be valid on a per property basis. Business licenses will be published monthly and will be made available by the city of Bull Shoals as described in this ordinance. B, a short-term rental operator must provide 24-hour contact information to the city of Bull Shoals in the form of functioning phone number and email. C, short-term rental operators must include the city-issued business license number on all listings of the rental with third-party websites, apps, and printed materials. D, parking for renters must be provided at the location of the short-term rental and must adhere to city ordinances regarding parking, roadways, and the storage of vehicles. E, renters and their guests must comply with local noise and pet ordinances and must not create a disturbance for adjacent properties. G, prior to receiving the initial business license, the owner shall submit to an inspection by the city conducted by the city building inspector and fire department to ensure compliance with all city codes. Thereafter, the short-term rental shall have an annual fire inspection and shall install and provide to guests the following safety devices: fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors. Short-term rental operators shall follow all state, county, and city fire codes. H, short-term rental properties owners shall require renters to sign a contractual agreement detailing the full term of a short-term rental. Copies of those documents will be kept in the property owner's possession for a period of 2 years and shall be made available for review by city officials upon request. Section 3, short-term rentals within platted subdivisions within our zoning shall meet all the requirements of this ordinance along with the following. A, short-term rentals in platted subdivisions may be advertised advertise for short-term rental via internet websites or apps and in tourism magazines or other printed material, but no advertising signage shall be allowed on the property or streets in the city of Bull Shoals. A short-term rental may have a small sign attached to the entrance to identify the structure by a special name, i.e. Blue Rental House. The sign must be attached to the structure and may not be placed in the yard or along the street. Section 4, upon showing compliance with the requirements listed in this ordinance, a short-term rental business license shall be issued to the owner of the property by the city of Bull Shoals. The city shall charge $50 per property per year for the business license as an annual license fee. Any license issued during any part of any calendar year will need to be renewed the following year through the payment of the annual license fees. Annual license fees are due yearly by or before January 5th. Bull Shoals city officials may revoke the short-term rental business license if there are valid complaints from nearby residences that are not corrected. Complaints must be made in the form of a written document with specific detail regarding the date, time, and issues, and must be delivered to the city council of Bull Shoals. If the city council determines a complaint to be valid, as determined by a resolution to that effect, then the property owner will be required to provide a written correction plan, which shall include dates upon which a city official can inspect the property or situation as to verify resolution of the problem. The allowed time for correction shall be within 30 days from the date of the notice of the valid complaint being delivered to the rental property owner by email, sent to the email address to the property owner provides to the city in adherence with this ordinance. Failure to respond with a written correction plan or to resolve a valid complaint will result in a temporary revocation of the business license with notice to the property owner to cease rentals until resolved. A post-revocation renewal fee of $50 must be paid to end the revocation and reestablish rental operations, and all records of the event will be kept at the city of Bull Shoals offices. In the event that 3 separate temporary revocations are issued on the same short-term rental business license, the short-term rental business license will be revoked permanently. If the event that a property owner has a short-term rental business license permanently revoked, the property owner shall not be eligible to renew other short-term rental businesses licensed for other properties they may own. Section 5, no business license issued pursuant to the terms of this ordinance shall be transferable to any other person or location. In the event that ownership of a property being used as a short-term rental is sold or transferred, the new owner will need to apply for a new business license if they wish to continue the short-term rental. Section 6, violation of this ordinance shall be subject to a fine, the permanent revocation of the short-term rental business license, or both. The fine shall not exceed $500 for each day that the unlawful conduct continues. Violation of this ordinance shall be treated as a strict liability offense regardless of intent. Section 7, severability. If any provision, clause, sentence, paragraph, or section of this ordinance or the application thereof shall be invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, such invalidity shall not affect the other provisions of this ordinance, which can be given effect without the invalid provisions or application. And to this end, the provisions of this ordinance are declared severable. Section 8, this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon passage and posting. Section 9, this ordinance repeals and replaces Bull Shoals City Ordinance 2021-02. Do I have a motion to accept?
I had one quick question for the fire chief, actually. Is this gonna be doable to inspect these?
We currently do it now.
Okay.
And we treat it kind of like a hotel.
Okay.
Motel, that deal. grills aren't under carports, stuff like that. We do.
Okay, so it's not gonna be an overburden on you, okay, great, that's all I had, sorry.
Just for clarity, this would apply to VRBOs and anything like that, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Looking for a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Look for a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only for the second and third reading. Please.
Motion to suspend.
Yeah, I know, but I want to make the motion that we read by title only.
In the future reading, yes.
Yes.
Good.
So, the motion being that we read by title only for the second and third reading only.
Can I make a motion for any reader? I'll read instead of you.
Yeah, sure, it's shorter now.
I'll make a motion.
Then have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll have second and third reading next council meeting.
Point of order, we still have several ordinances here to get through, and right now we're at 7:40.
Yeah, we got, 40 more minutes. We're good until 8:30. 6:30 to 8:30.
I thought we went from 8 to stay on.
Okay.
Well, we still have a lot of stuff to read, and there's a couple of really, really important ones.
I know, we're trying to get there.
You know, we keep putting together these new agendas, and we're shoveling everything.
So this next one, should take very long, right? The next one on the agenda is 2025-11, an ordinance setting water, sewer, deposit fees, and outstanding debt for homeowner, commercial, and renters within the city of Old Shoals, Arkansas. Be it ordained by the city council of the city of Old Shoals, Arkansas, establishing water, sewer, deposit fees, and outstanding debt. Section 1, water, sewer, deposit fees for homeowners will be $125. This fee is refundable upon the sale of the homestead after all outstanding water, sewer fees are paid in full. Interest on the deposit money will be computed at 0.0125% per annum and subtracted from the monthly bill on the anniversary date to the homeowner's account. Section 2, the water sewer deposit fees for renters will be $200. This fee is refundable upon moving from the rented property after all outstanding water sewer fees are paid in full. Interest on the deposit money will be computed at 0.0125% per annum and subtracted from the monthly bill on the anniversary date to the renter's account. Section 3, the water sewer deposit for commercial property will be $250. This fee is refundable upon moving out of the commercial property after all outstanding water sewer fees are paid in full. Interest on the deposit money will be computed at 0.0125% per annum and subtracted from the monthly bill on the anniversary date to the opening of the commercial account. Section 4, final returns of deposits plus interest are returned to the customer of record for each month service was provided during that final year. Section 5, all present ordinances or resolutions related to water sewer deposits are hereby repealed. Section 6, if water service has been disconnected and locked off at the meter because of non-payment, all outstanding water sewer debt to the city of Bull Shoals Water and Sewer Department must be paid off in full before such service shall resume, to include a $50 reconnection fee or the individual open day account property management company or property owner can establish a repayment plan by written and signed agreement as determined at the discretion of the Bull Shoals Water and Sewer Department. The mayor of Bull Shoals shall have the authority to determine policies and guidelines regarding repayment plans. Ordinance number 2025-11, severability. If any provision, clause, sentence, paragraph, or section of this ordinance or the application thereof shall be held invalid by a court or competent jurisdiction, substantively shall not affect the other provisions of this ordinance, which can be given effect without the invalid provisions of the application, and to this end, the provisions of the ordinance are declared severable. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I have a question on section 4. To me, that reads kind of weird. Could the lawyer help me out with this?
Fine.
To me, it sounds like it's supposed to be paid, the final deposit's gonna be paid every month for all the months for that fiscal year. That's just the way I read it. Am I reading it wrong, or?
It says final return of deposits plus interest are returned to the customer of record for each month service was provided during that final year.
So you're just returning the deposit plus interest?
Well, seconds. But to me, the way it sounded like.
For each month, so it's on a monthly basis. It's on a monthly basis. So, if you had a apartment on.
Kind of prorated.
No, because the way I read it, I was like, you were gonna give me a deposit back for each month, so you were gonna give me my $200 back, and then $200 back, and $200 back. I was thinking, I want that deal.
The interest is calculated on a monthly basis.
Okay, so that's only for the interest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, again, look for a motion to suspend the rules to read second and third reading by title only in the next regular council meeting. Motion and second by Nolan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our next one is 12. Oh. Okay, ordinance 2025-12, an ordinance titled the Bull Shoals Property Maintenance Code dealing with clean premises violations and enforcement. Whereas the Bull Shoals City Council has been asked by citizens to establish and enforce updated codes to keep privately owned areas clean and safe. And whereas existing ordinances need to be updated and replaced to accomplish city beautification and to eliminate health and safety issues. And whereas for the health, safety, and well-being of the citizens of the city of Bull Shoals, it is of the utmost urgency to adopt this ordinance, giving the city the ability to maintain codes and enforcement of clean premises, section 101 general, 101.1 title. This regulation shall be known as the International Property Maintenance Code of the City of Bull Shoals, Arkansas, hereinafter referred to as this code. 102 or 101.2 scope. The provisions of this code shall apply to all existing residential and non-residential structures and all existing premises and constitute minimum requirements and standards for premises, structures, equipment, and facilities for sanitation protection from the elements, a reasonable level of safety from fire and other hazards, and for the authorized agent, operators, and occupants, the occupancy of existing structures and premises, and for administration, enforcement, and penalties. 101.3 intent. This code shall be construed to secure its expressed intent, which is to ensure public health, safety, and welfare as far as they are affected by the continued occupation and maintenance of structures and premises Existing structures and premises that do not comply with these provisions shall be altered or repaired to provide a minimum level of health and safety as required. 101.4 severability is if a section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this code is for any reason held to be unconstitutional, such discussion or decision shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this code. Section 102, clean premises. 102.1, requirements of owner, property manager, or occupant of property. The owners, property managers, or occupants, or property within the Bull Shoals city limits are hereby required to: A, maintain yards, fields, and landscaping, cut and remove weeds, grass, and brush, or any other uncultivated plants which are not used for agricultural purposes which exceed the height of 10 inches. Property owners, property managers, or occupants are responsible for the upkeep of their yards and the ditch lines up to the street or highway or drivable roadway. B, remove garbage, rubbish, or any other unsanitary or unsightly articles and things including but not limited to household furniture, boards, bricks, sheet metals, construction materials, appliances, and plumbing fixtures. This article applies to items which are in public view and are not being used in immediate construction projects. C, take steps necessary to eliminate or remove stagnant pools of water or other unsanitary things, place, or condition which might become a breeding place for flies, mosquitoes, and germs harmful to the health of the community. D, remove any items, whether valuable or junk, that may collect and interfere with the flow of drainage water in ditches, drains, or culverts. E, once a property has been cleared by tree removal, grading, brush hogging, or improved by any means, the property owners, property managers, or occupants of the property must maintain the property as described in section 102.1 of this ordinance. An exception shall be made for immediate construction projects, provided that once construction has concluded, adherence to the above described requirements shall begin within 14 calendar days. 102.2, clean premises enforcement. Violators of section 102.1 will be given written notice that they have 7 calendar days to correct the violation. Notice may be given by personal delivery, by certified mail to the last known address, or by posting the notice on the premises. If the condition is not corrected in the 7 days, the city or private contractors hired on behalf of the city shall be authorized to enter the violating premises to perform work as required to correct the violation. The owners, property managers, or occupants may be issued such fines and citations as are authorized in this or other ordinances or state laws, and may be charged and cited into Bull Shoals District Court. The cost incurred by the city may be claimed as restitution, in addition to any associated fines or costs levied. In cases where notice has been provided and the violator does not respond, one notice shall be considered sufficient. The situations where work to correct a violation must be done repeatedly, such as mowing or water drainage, provided said notice is given at least once per calendar year after the work has been completed. The city shall provide second notice to the owner of the total cost to resolve the violation, including administrative and filing costs, and such second notice shall comport with the requirements of Arkansas Code section 1454-903E, and shall constitute notice of the amount of a clean-up lien, should one be sought. 102.3, procedure where owner's whereabouts is unknown or is a non-resident. In the event the owner has not been located, the city may file a lien against the premises for the cost of cleanup as authorized by Arkansas Code section 1454-902, in which the lien may be enforced against the real estate within 18 months by filing suit in Marion County District or Circuit Court. 102.4, refusal of owner to comply. Owners that refuse to comply will need to comply under Arkansas Code Section 1454-903, or a cleanup lien will be filed, and the city of Bull Shoals will follow Arkansas Code Section 1454-904. Rodent harborage. All structures and exterior property shall be kept free from rodent harborage and infestation. Where rodents are found, they shall be promptly exterminated by an appropriate process that will not be injurious to human health or the property of others. After pest elimination, proper precautions shall be taken to eliminate rodent harborage and prevent infestation. 102.6, accessory structures. All accessory structures, including detached garages, fences, and walls, should be maintained structurally sound and in good repair. 102.7, motor vehicles, except as provided by other regulations, no inoperative or unlicensed motor vehicle shall be parked, kept, or stored on any premises, and no vehicle shall at any time be in a state of major disrepair or in the process of being stripped or dismantled. Painting of vehicles is prohibited unless conducted inside an approved spray booth. A vehicle of any type is permitted to undergo major overhaul, including body work, provided that such work is performed inside a structure or similar enclosed area designed and approved for such purpose. 102.8, defacement of property. No person shall willfully or wanton damage, mutilate, or deface any exterior surface of any structure or building on any public property by placing thereon any markings, carvings, or graffiti. It shall be the responsibility of the owner to restore such surface to an above state of maintenance and repair. 102.9, fines and costs. A person convicted of a violation of this code for a first offense shall be guilty of an unclassified misdemeanor and shall be fined up to $1,000. For premises violations that are not corrected, the fines may apply and be calculated for each day the violation continues, as well as any cost incurred by the city for the violation may be added as restitution. Section 103, unsafe structure. 103.1, damage and unsafe structures. The owners of fire damage, dilapidated, or casualty damaged properties that render the structures or premises unsafe, unsightly, or unsanitary are required to repair or eliminate the condition. The owners of the property shall be given written notice of the violation by a designated city official and shall have 30 days in which to eliminate the violation, or, if additional time is needed and requested, to present a written plan of timely abatement acceptable to city officials. If the correction and abatement is not satisfactory to the enforcement officials, a nuisance may be declared by resolution of the city council. A structure found to be a nuisance may be condemned by a resolution of the city council. 103.2, nuisance of condemnation of buildings. That is, shall be, and is hereby declared to be unlawful for any person or persons, partnership, corporations, or associations to own, keep, or maintain any house, building, and or structure within the corporate limits of the city of Bull Shoals, Arkansas, which constitute a nuisance and which is found and declared to be a nuisance by resolution of the city council. B, that any such house, building, or structure which is found and declared to be a nuisance by resolution of the city council may be condemned to ensure the removal thereof as herein provided. C, that the resolution of the city council condemning any house, building, and or structure which constitutes a nuisance will include said resolution and adequate description of the house, building, and or structure, the name or names, if known, of the owner or owners thereof, and shall be set forth the reasons said house, building, and or structure is or has been condemned as a nuisance. D, after a house, building, and or structure has been found and declared to be a nuisance and condemned by resolution, a true or certified copy of said owner of owners or owners thereof, provided that if the owner or owners of said house, building, and or structure be unknown, or if his or their whereabouts or last known address be unknown, the posting of the copy of said resolution on premises herein above provided will suffice as notice. E, if the house, building, and or structure constituting a nuisance have not been torn down and removed, a said nuisance otherwise abated within 30 days after notice is given or posted, the same may be torn down and or removed by the city. Arkansas Code Section 1454, 902, 903, and 904 are hereby adopted as set out here in word for word. F, the persons designated by the mayor to tear down and remove any such house, building, and or structure constituting nuisance will ensure the removal thereof and dispose of the same in such a manner as deemed appropriate in the circumstances, and to that end may, if the same have a substantial value, sell said house, building, and or structure, or any saleable material thereof, by public sale to the highest bidder for cash after 10 days notice thereof, being first given by one publication in some newspaper having a general circulation in the city. G, all the proceeds of the sale of any such house, building, and or structure are, or the proceeds of the sale of saleable materials therefrom shall be paid to the city treasurer. If any such house, building, and or structure, or the saleable materials therefrom are sold for an amount which exceeds all costs incidental to the abatement of the nuisance, including the cleanup of the premises by the city, plus any fine or fines imposed, the balance thereof will be forwarded to the former owners of such house, building, and or structure consisting the nuisance. Section 104, inoperable or parked motor-driven vehicles and equipment. 104.1, inoperable or parked motor-driven vehicles and equipment. The owners or occupants of property within the city limits of Bull Shoals are hereby required to remove motor vehicles, trailers, and equipment that is unused or inoperable from public view. The vehicle or equipment shall be presumed to be inoperable when any of the following conditions exist. A, one or more tires are flat. B, one or more wheels are missing. C, weeds or grass have grown around the vehicle or equipment. D, the vehicle has no current registration. E, any other factor that is indicative of non-use. Note, this section does not apply to vehicles or equipment stored in closed garages or outbuildings, but does not apply to driveway, yards, and open carports. This section does not apply to automotive or equipment businesses operating in commercial or industrial zones. 104.2, enforcement. Violation of this section shall be given written notice that they have 7 calendar days to either remove the vehicle or equipment or cause the vehicle or equipment to be both operable and no longer meet the criteria for presumed inoperability. Notice may be by personal delivery, by certified mail to last known address, or by posting the notice on the premises. If the condition is not corrected in the 7 days, the city is authorized and directed to remove the violating vehicle or equipment. Alternatively, the city may authorize a licensed towing, handling, and type entity to remove the vehicle, all at the expense of the violator. The owner may also be charged and cited in Bull Shoals District Court. 104.3, fines and costs. A person convicted of a violation of this code section shall be guilty of an unclassified misdemeanor and shall be fined up to $1,000 for violations that are not corrected. The fines may apply and be calculated for each day the violation continues and may be levied by the district judge. district court judge. Also, any reasonable cost to remove the vehicle or equipment may be added to the court cost as restitution. Do I have a motion to accept?
Read that again, I missed something.
Do I hear a second?
Can you read that?
Do I hear a second?
I'm gonna table it. I think this needs to be dissected. It's going on forever.
As I understand, this was taken from another city, though, some of it.
Some of it, and the lawyer looked it over.
I think there's some parts of it that hold a lot of value in beautifying our city. I think there really are some things in here that will hold people's feet against the fire, and put them into a situation. I just want to ask a couple questions real quick. Officer Babb, when we hang up our door hangers, what percentage of action is taken on those so far?
If you look at the report last month, I delivered 17 red tags. Of the 17 red tags, 14 of them were corrected within 5 days. 3 of them went to the same property manager, were not corrected, which is the reason.
And there's a couple sections in here, like the working on your car outside of an enclosed building. You know, that's starting to infringe on some property rights here. If I want to bondo my car outside instead of in my hot garage, that should be my right if I own my property and I own that vehicle. So there's some things in here that just kind of don't sit well with me. And then the $1,000 fine, I think we're going to find that a lot of the people that we're dealing with that are already in these situations, maybe don't have $1,000 to pay forward on a fine like that.
We're not putting a $1,000 fine on them. It's gonna go up to, that depends on what the district judge wants to do.
Okay.
This is state law.
Well, then I guess my next question is how do we determine what this fine should be for them? You know, we don't have a set list of, okay, well, if you have X amount of high grass, this is your fine. This is just saying
We don't determine the fine. That is made by the district court judge. She has up to $1,000 fine. Okay, she can turn around and say, I'm not gonna give you any kind of fine, you corrected this by the time you came to court. So,
I too would like to table it because I think it's reminiscent of kind of a bulky HOA kind of existence on a country town, and it's bordering on oppressive sometimes. I mean, I get why, and parts are good, but I would like to table it and consider it more.
any other discussion?
I want to circle back. I think there are some very great points in there that pushes things forward. But there's a couple things in here I just can't get behind right off the bat. You might have more time.
Well, I mean, I would say, you know, that's why I put this out 15 days ago, okay? To have everybody go over this, it's been on your tablets and it's worked.
Yeah, I'm giving you my answer on it right now.
Well, I'm just saying that we could have had this corrected. Now, I'm just saying that, when it comes to the grass issue, we have certain, individuals here in town that do not want to cut the grass. And that's why, if you go down Main Street, it looks 2 to 3 foot high. And they're, saying that they're not required by our present ordinance that they're required to cut the grass. That's why this was brought.
I'd like to move to table it for another time.
So be it. You want to pull your motion?
No, I don't. I would like to find out what we're going to do, figure out what we're going to take in of this, or my question is, when are we going to discuss this? If we don't do it now, or at the next workshop, I think this is important. I've been working very hard on this, and we've actually taken some stuff out of here. You have something to say?
I would suggest one option that might be the most straightforward answer is if each of y'all would individually, not to each other, individually send to me any particular list of changes that you would want,
out and maybe do the grass thing, like the first, it's all divided into sections. I think we have a huge problem in this town with just the way that, we're gonna try to clean up the Main Street, that's gonna be like, because it has been. And we need to do something. We don't have any teeth in the regulations we currently have. And also, I've been to several of the, and I'm sorry to drag this out, but I think this is important. Several of the court cases, and I believe, I could be mistaken, Judge Carney, does anyone guess how many code violations Judge Carney has seen this year? 0. I don't think she's seen one case that involves grass, weeds, buildings, anything. So what does that mean? That means absolutely 0, nothing has been done about it, nothing. And Officer Rab has been out putting out red tags. Now these red tags, just familiarize yourself with what that is. They're just warnings, they're not violations, they're just, hey, we want you to fix this, will you please fix it? And then he's done a great job of that. And what, 14 out of 17? Just from doing that, he's resolved 90% of the problem. This is without the court, without a code, without anything. He's just red tags, please do this. And people have done it. So I think that alone has helped tremendously, but we still have some issues with this city, and we need to clean it up and, you know.
Right, but you can improve your point by saying if we pass out some red tags right now with warnings, that it's gonna get rectified. And maybe if we do what Will's asking us to do, which is write him some suggestions and then he can aggregate that out, we can push this for a month. It's just 30 days to get a much better ordinance, rather than try to split the ordinance up and try to do it piecemeal, keep it together, and make it a better ordinance, take 30 days to do that, and if there are egregious problems with grass or whatever, obviously, you know, you kind of prove your point. If Chief Bab's gonna pass out a red tag for it and not say that it's a fine or anything, he's just saying, hey, clean it up.
But we currently cannot do anything about the ditch line. I don't think it's even legally forced them to mow the ditch line at this point in time.
Oh, you tell me that.
Well, I think that's true. I could be wrong, but I believe that's correct.
Grass tax, there are some impressive parts of this that there's no way for, I'm gonna vote for it. That we need to clean this up. 30 days isn't gonna kill our ditches, our town isn't gonna look any worse. I do agree there's a lot of things in here that will benefit our city, that will allow us to do great things. So there's a couple things in here that just, they don't own them, they infringe on property right violations. I mean, I can't get behind this is still American, people.
Okay, so here's my suggestion. Anybody that wants to change it, let's change it. And then by the next council meeting, if nobody has made any changes,
Thank you for your hard work. I think this is.
then let's just vote it in, because we need to do the work.
Absolutely. Not just gonna pass something.
I move my motion.
I'd like to move to table it till the next council meeting.
All those in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed? All right, let's move to this, ordinance, number 2025-3. An ordinance appointing the city police chief of the city of Bull Shoals, Arkansas. Whereas the city of Bull Shoals, Marion County, Arkansas seeks to address the terms of employment for the position of chief of police for the city of Bull Shoals. Now therefore be it ordained by the city council of Bull Shoals, Marion County, Arkansas, that 1, it will take a 2/3 majority vote of the city council to remove or demote a person from the position of chief of police for the city of Bull Shoals. 2, the chief of police for city of Bull Shoals is required to live within the city limits of Bull Shoals and as a salaried employee. It is required to work between 40 and 50 hours per week if the police department has fewer than 5 police officers. If the police department has 5 or more officers, the weekly working hours requirements shall instead align with Arkansas law for uniformed employees. Number 3, this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon passage. Can I hear a
I'll make
motion?
a motion, we accept the.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Looking for a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only, second and third reading tonight.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance 2025-13, an ordinance appointing the city police chief of the city of Bull Shoals, Arkansas. Have a motion to accept.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Third reading ordinance 2025-13, an ordinance appointing the city police chief of the city of Bull Shoals, Arkansas. Have a motion to accept.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on, resolution number 2025-R11, Bull Shoals, Arkansas, a resolution appointing the city police chief of the city of Bull Shoals, Arkansas. Whereas the city of Bull Shoals, Marion County, Arkansas, has a position and salary for a chief of police for the city of Bull Shoals. And whereas the city of Bull Shoals, Marion County, Arkansas, had the former police chief resigned the position on 6/30/2025, making that position vacant. And whereas Mayor Stallman assigned Corporal Jonathan J. Babb to fill the position as interim police chief, so the duties of the police chief required by Arkansas law can continue to be fulfilled. And now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Bull Shoals, Marion County, Arkansas, that, number one, the City Council of the City of Bull Shoals hereby approves the appointment of Jonathan J. Babb as the City of Bull Shoals Police Chief. Two, Jonathan J. Babb is hereby promoted to the Bull Shoals Police Chief and is to be given the salary and benefits that accompany that position. Three, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. We have a motion to accept.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. All right, now we come to the best part, citizens' comments. Move forward. State your name.
My name is Jeff Kyler.
Come up to the podium, please, sir, so everybody can hear you.
My name is Jeff Kyler. I live at 617 Betty Jean Boulevard. Avenue, excuse me.
Sorry.
Do I rank a little higher living on the avenue? I want to talk to you about this ordinance that y'all just tabled. And this sounds to me terribly, like you have created yourself an HOA, voted yourselves the officer of an HOA, that you have a enforcement division for your HOA, that you have a legal division for your HOA, that you have a judge for your HOA, and that this might not be you personally, but you're making an ordinance. So this is going to affect every city council here on. And I'm going to live in this town for, by the grace of God, maybe 20 more years. But you might not have any harsh intentions yourself. But who's to say that any future councilmen are not going to have harsh intentions? And this is kind of set up to where, as a homeowner, I myself I'm in a position to where I could be persecuted on this. And, you know, me and the bank own my home. And I don't live in my home by the blessing of the city council. And, this little ordinance that y'all have gathered up and written up, I'm sorry, you overstepping your bounds, because you made yourself the board of an HOA, and you never asked the homeowner what he thought.
That's why they tabled it.
I know, but this is probably the only time I get to speak. And I'd like all the other homeowners to hear this side of it for their consideration. And I think Mike over here understands part of that. But, no. This is getting where I think y'all overstepping the bounds. If it hurts your feelings, that's how it's gonna be.
No, thank you for your comment. That's why we allow you to speak. Okay.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's my turn. I'm Leanne Calvert, and I live at 617 Betty Jean Avenue. And, we have a problem with speakers on Betty Jean, and we've had a problem, and I hate to be that neighbor, you know. I'm not gonna put up a game cam. I am not gonna stand out there and take pictures. That's not my job. I do worry about those, there are young girls in that neighborhood. There are people who walk their dogs. And I'm not talking just going, because the speed limit is 25, and I'm not just talking 30 miles. You know, it looks to me, and I'm no expert, 50, 60, really fast. There's only one stop sign on Betty Jean, and all the other streets have stop signs. But there's these young girls that ride their scooters, their electric scooters. They do not stop. So if you bring somebody going 60, 70 miles an hour up Betty Jean, somebody's going to die. And then there's also deer. You slam on your brakes, somebody may run into my house because they're trying to avoid hitting a deer. And we live in an apartment complex where they threaten to put speed bumps. I hate the idea. But maybe a stop sign. A second, third stop sign on Betty Jean might slow them down. That's all. Oh, I did have chickens. Where are we at on chickens?
Unfortunately, there's only 24 hours in a day. We've had a couple of other burning issues on the plate.
Well, and then another thing I like is, I'm sorry,
no, it's okay.
I knew where this was headed, so I'm sorry. But the city water notices, the bills, there were dates. You know, dates of the city council meeting, dates of trash, bulk trash pickup. Is that gonna be available to us on the website?
Erica?
Yes. Okay, good deal. Because I don't check Facebook every 5 minutes like some people do, to, you know, to see what's happening next.
But to answer your question, I'm still on the chicken thing. Just have a couple other pots I gotta stir until we get there, but I promise you, I haven't forgotten about it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any other citizens' comments?
Good evening. Gary, 112 Ferncliff. I want to introduce a concept, and at the end, I'm going to ask for your permission to continue researching this. So a couple of weeks ago, a tribute to Suzanne Dew came to me from Taylor Dew and Jennifer Coolidge to have their tribute printed in the Bugle. The tribute contained a reference from Pastor Craig, who talked of a peach tree. And so to explain a little bit further at the service, Pastor Craig equated Suzanne to a peach tree because she gave so much of herself to the public, and it was quite a thing for me to grasp. The peach tree doesn't bear peaches. Pear tree doesn't bear peaches for itself. It bears fruit for others to enjoy. He went on to compare that to Suzanne's life, who was a public servant, a waitress, and a friend to a lot of people in Old Shoals. Pastor Greg challenged everyone to be a peach tree like Suzanne. So it got me to thinking that there are a lot of people that live here now or have lived here in the past that may enjoy having a peach tree in memory of one of their loved ones. So I thought that a memorial orchard would be a great addition to one of our parks, a place of remembrance and peace. Our citizens could donate a tree in remembrance of their loved one and perhaps have a plaque made in their memory. And I'm hopeful that this could be another idea among the already great ideas that have come out recently that are bringing our community together. A long time ago, I learned a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt that stated that you should not ever take a no from somebody who doesn't have the power to give you a yes. So when I started this a few weeks ago, the one person that holds sway over everything is Josh Whitaker from the Corps. And without his permission to move forward, everything was going to die. So I got in touch with him. I explained to him the concept, and lo and behold, he thought this was a good idea. And as long as you're not cutting down trees and you're planting them, I think the Corps is pretty happy with that. But, so I explained the concept, he was accepting of it, and well, at the very least, he didn't say no. However, he does need something from the mayor to get the process started. After that call, I called Ryan Brannaman for his expertise. After all, we all need to shop locally, and he's on board. My first choice of locations was Danielson Park, mainly because of size, but any area large enough to have a lot of trees planted would work. Even a donated piece of land would work. Yeah. While the idea is to grow fruit trees for our citizens to enjoy, the reality of a non-fenced orchard in this area may not be a great idea except for giving back to the deer. However, I think that any type of tree would suffice. The point is to include the citizens and to create that area of peace and tranquility. So, in closing, is this even a viable idea? We don't know yet. But before any other work or research is done, and there's going to be an awful lot of that, I'm asking the council to give the go-ahead to take the next steps toward creating the Suzanne Green Memorial Grove. So the ball is in your court. I don't need a vote, just a yes would suffice. Or if you want to talk about it amongst yourselves, feel free. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Deb Nelson, I live at 714 Maple Avenue. And I just moved here from out of state, so my perspective is probably way different from yours. So there's a lot of things I just don't know and I'm just curious about. And my mind wandered when you were reading that off, so you may have explained this and I just missed it. The thing you tabled where you talked about, you used the term nuisance, when a building becomes a nuisance, then you can tear it down and that sort of thing. If you're talking about residential and commercial stuff, or just what?
An example would be, south of the 1050, there's three resorts, cabins. They are falling down. They're kind of a hazard. Front porch is ready to fall in. The people were working on that before COVID started, and COVID became thing. They had to go back to work, but they're a nuisance. There's animals living in those buildings. That's
Kind of like that house over behind the bank over here that looks like it's your heart?
The Port Field.
Anyway, so that was my question. I said that, wasn't paying attention. But, you know, what I was gonna say is, if I just lived here, and I'm sure you're all aware of all the resorts and all that, all going on, but you maybe have never compared it to Lakeview. I'm driving to town, and I come back to Bull Shoals, I drive through Lakeview, and I immediately ask myself the question, is this a hotel, or is this an apartment? Because you can't tell, well, this month, coming up, my family's coming here from Memphis to visit us for the first time. We moved here from Montana after living there 20 years. So I'm real excited about that, but the issue comes up about where are they gonna stay? And the honest truth is, just from looking online and from driving around, it's hard to tell whether these are actually apartments or whether they're hotels or what they are. And, you know, I'm trying to educate myself online, but when you go online, that's a presentation of somebody's business. That's not necessarily the reality. And a lot of these are built back in the 50s, so that might be a picture from back in the 50s, but that might not be what it looks like today. And so I just want you to consider all that when you're thinking about.
What I would suggest, we tried to link with the Chamber of Commerce, and they do have, locations that are lodging. So check out either on our, city website that has a link to the chamber, or you can go right to the, Bull Shoals Lakeview Chamber of Commerce, and they'll show you some lodging, availability.
Well, like for example, I went online and I was looking at some, long time ago, built back in the 50s, I won't name names, but it was called one thing on the website, and then it was called something else in the comments, and then so it had 3 different names, very similar, but I just paid attention to the fact that, you know, if you can't even get the name straight, what's really going on inside? You know, is it clean? Is it maintained? And that sort of thing. And that came to mind when you're talking about the standards, you know, like you got to standards. So just consider all that when you're thinking about the results.
Welcome to town. Any other comments?
Oh, you said my name, so you would vote. Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. Good evening, Mayor, Councilman, women. 2 hats here. So first of all, Chamber of Commerce. Some projects we have going on briefly. We got Water Day going on this Saturday in the park. If anybody knows the kids, was help outs from 2 to 4. Hot dogs, snacks, sprinklers. At Dan User Park, just a little fun day for the kids before they go back to school. The Chamber also has some other projects coming up, along with the Miles and Miles of yard sales on the 13th of September, 12th and 13th. The 13th of September, there will also be a chili cook-off and the Fireman's silent auction open house. So those are some projects we're working on as we get ready for Dan Jam that's coming up at the end of September. So on another note of the chamber would like to enter in or suggest that we purchased 30 sets of frames and banners for the light poles in town. And we asked that the city would consider splitting the cost with that 50-50. We've got the cost at about $100 a piece with artwork and taxes and everything. We should actually be a little bit under that. Something just kind of put in the record. Now switching hats. Don Butman, 105 Cindy Lane, resident here, realtor, even real estate. On the notes of the ordinance for lawn care, nuisance and stuff. I agree that nobody wants an HOA, nobody wants somebody driving around. That can be terrifying. We've all seen the stories. But the city has also, at some point, lost control and lost all reign over this. Bringing up nuisance properties will hopefully encourage community involvement. If somebody is struggling to maintain their yard, maybe the neighbors can help them out. That will benefit everybody in town. immediate neighbors definitely, but also the city in general as far as property values, the attractiveness of the city to bring things to town, people, events that the chamber's working on, which also may hopefully bring some more people to town for the resorts. If we can ever get things moving in the right way and some momentum, maybe we can work on some festivals, art fairs, things like that, to try to do stuff that will help the resorts by adding other things besides just camping and fishing. We have mountain bike trails and some other projects we're working on, just trying to bring different people to town. So, I was just letting us thank you guys.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Just mayor's comments. We need to, city council, all of the boxes, at the next council, meeting, bring it up, for destruction of those old files. They've been sitting here, what, 8 years? You know, now they were bed behind, at the back wall there years ago, and then they moved them over here. The other thing is, we, as a second-class city, we cannot have a city clerk, okay? We cannot have a city clerk. So, Susan Walling has been moved to an office manager, HR, or human resources. There is a description of her job duties, which consists of 3 pages. I hear a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? To adjourn. And all those in favor?
Oh, we got, let me get up, go early, and go over there. You're gonna be there 10? Oh, bummer. All of them are to go. You got a couple watches around.
Congratulations, Keith.
He's got shirts, I gotta go with shirts.
Did you see that, over in,
Don't worry about that. I was seeing, look out, please. Hey, somebody out there.